Hey everyone, Codeth here, and we just had the dev stream and we got the patch notes after the PTR for Diablo 4 Season 4. Let's dig right into it. So for the dev stream, I'm using this website. It's called Wowhead. They've got a really good summary here, so props to them for putting this together. So items will drop with fewer affixes. Rares will have 2, legendaries will have 3. Many conditional affixes have been removed from the game. New crafting system, so they're adding tempering and masterworking. If you didn't know, didn't have a chance to try it in the PTR. Really cool new systems here. Rare and magic items will be reworked in a future update. So currently they're just going to be like salvage materials pretty much. But in the future it sounded like they want to make it kind of like how Diablo 2, some rares or magic items could be best in slot, like a J mod for a shield for example. But moving on here. The chance to masterworking, the fail at masterworking has been removed. And the upgrade animation, they removed some of those too. Upgrade materials from the pit will be easier to convert in a future update. Legendary items will drop more veiled crystals, and imprinting costs have been reduced in Season 4. So this was like a common concern for people, was the lack of veiled crystals, so they are addressing that. It's good. Visibility to greater affixes has been increased and enhanced, so you can see when you see it in your inventory, it does have this little icon here, that star at the very top. And then when it drops or you hover over it, it's going to have the star right there too after the name. So a little bit more visible there, easier to see. This is a new change too. Armor will cap at 9,230, which will mitigate 85% of physical damage against all enemies, regardless of level. So you won't need to get more armor than 9,230. This is all you have to be like looking for. That way you can go for other stats like maximum life, cooldown reduction, like damage stats, stuff like that. Cooldown reduction will be capped at 75%, and increased area size will be capped at 100%. So there's a visual here. Yeah, if you hover over it, you'll see, like this also says it on the here, it's capped at 75%. Helltide changes. Helltides are now going to be available in tiers 1 and 2. The Hellborn and Blood Maiden are new higher difficulty enemies that will be included in Helltide. Helltide will contain additional events, including accursed rituals. And they buffed the Cinder drop rate across the board. Really nice to see that, because it felt pretty slow in the PTR, so it's good that that's being addressed. And here's the season theme. The season theme is Iron Wolves. So if you guys remember, these guys were from Act 2 or Act 3 in Diablo 2. They're also like mercenaries that you could hire. They had different elemental abilities, which is cool. Players will work with the Iron Wolves faction to investigate the new rise in Helltides. The Wolves honors a new reputation that can be used to earn items, cosmetics, and resplendent spark. So after completing all this, you can get a spark, which is pretty cool. A new item, the Profane Mind Cage, can be used to increase the level of Helltide enemies. So they don't have a picture of it here, but it looks like a brain, and it's a consumable. So it has like a timer, and it increases the Helltide monster level by 10, and increases the Cinder drop rate. Okay, and then moving on to the pit. The pit has been made more difficult. Completing the pit will always reward obols. Obol cap has been increased to 2.5k. Spending obols at level 100 will guarantee a 925 item. So this was a pretty cool change here. So once you're level 100, you can just start gambling obols for your gear. It's a nice quality of life change. Boss ladder change. Indara's been added. Level 200 tormented bosses have been added. Tormented bosses will cost 3 times the amount, as opposed to 5 in the PTR, but will still reward 5 times the loot. I don't see it touched on here, but the dev stream, they did mention all the other bosses will have a chance to drop Uber Uniques. Not as much as Duriel and Andariel, but there will be a chance. And of course, more ways to farm materials, or boss materials, like rare monsters and stuff like that. Or elite monsters. Players will be rewarded set gear throughout the season journey that will target specific build per class. This is something new that they're trying. So I think this is pretty cool for casual players that don't really have that much guidance in where to build and what aspects to look for. So this is like good for new players, I feel. So Barbarians getting Dust Devils, Druid Pulverize, Necromancer Minions, of course, since those are getting buffed, Sorceress Incinerate, and Rogue Barrage. Yeah, pretty cool stuff here. While Season 4 will not include seasonal power, these thematic powers will return in future seasons. So all these changes here are going to go to the Eternal Realm. And Season 4 will be about 1 week shorter than normal. Developers are considering changes to make items with greater affixes even more visible. Everything in Season 4, other than Wolf's questline, will be available in Eternal. Next big rework is adding more endgame content to the base game. This was a bug that was addressed. If a player uses more than one profane mind cage, it will reset the duration and not add more enemy levels. And it can only infect one individual player. It does not affect your party. And some unique items have been updated to be more competitive with legendaries. So yeah, really cool stuff here. Oh, an increased area size. I didn't see that mentioned, but that's been capped at 100% as well. And let's go over to the patch notes now. So there's no longer a chance for masterworking to fail. Some of this will be a repeat here. The animation has been removed from 1 to 3, 5 to 7, etc. So not the milestone ranks. You'll still have the animation from the milestone ranks. The tempering result screen now shows result affix, its role, and affix range. Various UI improvements. Added multiple tiers of masterworking material caches that transmute far more materials than were previously available. So that's going to be really helpful. I remember in the PTR I crafted like a bunch of them, and I had to like sit there for like clicking, like right clicking for like a minute to open them all up. That's kind of tedious, so that's a good change right there. Visual indication has been added to the imprint UI, which indicates which legendary affixes are currently equipped. Nice visual change there. You can now search the term equipped or equipped within the Codex of Power to list the currently equipped ones. We've added an inventory icon to indicate items that have one greater affix. So this picture here, there's an icon right there. Helltide in the pit. The party member that spends the rune shards to open the pit gets 100% of the materials. The rest of the party receives half of the amount, so 50%. Artillery and blast wave shrines no longer spawn in the pit, so can't fish for shrines here. Hellborn spawn chance in Helltide has been increased. That's a nice change. These guys guarantee a chance at a Baneful Heart, so that's when you summon the Blood Maidens. Really cool new Helltide event. Baneful Heart drop rate has been increased or adjusted to be more consistent. Overall loot quality from the Blood Maiden has been improved. Loot quality has also been improved for players that contribute materials to summon the Blood Maiden as a contribution bonus reward. So this is good for people that are putting in the materials. If you're just leeching and just like hanging around, you're not going to get bonuses, but if you're contributing, you'll get a bonus. So that's kind of cool. Doomsayer variants, which used to drop a chest of Doomsaying on defeat, will now drop the contents of a Doomsaying chest on death with no additional cinder cost. So if you remember in the PTR, these chests cost 50 cinders. They're doing away with that, and they're just giving you the drops. Nice change. Balance adjustments, many tempering affixes that were either overperforming or underperforming have been adjusted to meet intended power levels. So like the lucky hit chance to do however many shadow damage, people were using that at like lower levels, so they were tuning that, for example. Tempering affix for maximum size increase for various skills such as Dust Devils or Bone Spirit, now capped at 100%, so went over that a little bit earlier. Itemization updates. Extracting an aspect now upgrades it in the Codex of Power. All aspects now exist in the Codex of Power. So we're going to be saving a ton of stash space. I don't know about you guys, but I have like 2 designated tabs just for aspects right now. So yeah, it's going to help loot goblins like myself. Alright, various item affixes have been updated, and the overall pool of affixes have been condensed. Additionally, greater affixes have been introduced. So appearing only on Ancestral Legendary and Unique items, these are more powerful 1.5x version of normal affixes. So only Ancestral Legendaries and Uniques, not Sacreds. Each item affix has a chance to be a greater affix in World Tier 4. Tempering and Masterworking. Legendary items drop from enemy 95 and up are always 925 item power. So yeah, legendaries are actually going to feel legendary. And yeah, it's a nice change. Unique items can now drop earlier in the game. World Tier 3 unique items drop as non-sacred in Tier 1 and 2. World Tier 4 unique items now drop as sacred in Tier 3. Unique or Uber Uniques can now start dropping in Monster level 55 drops at 925 item power. So you might get someone like a early game Shaco. That might be cool to see. Hope it's me. Minimum levels required to equip sacred and ancestral items has been reduced. So 35 for sacred, 55 for ancestral. That's a nice change. I'm a fan. It was 60 before. I know it was 60 for ancestral. And then here's the game updates. We went over this in the previous video, so I'm just going to go over the changes from the PTR because they're highlighted in red for us. So scrolling down here, Yen's Blessing Boots. Casting a skill has a 40 to 60% chance instead of a 20 to 30 to cast a non-mobility, non-ultimate skill that is currently on cooldown. This effect can only occur once every 8 seconds instead of 12 seconds. So Yen's Blessing, unique boots getting a buff here. Coming down to Barbarian, Aspect of Fierce Winds. Your shout skills create 3 instead of 5 Dust Devils. And the Dust Devils are 5 to 20%. So you got a range here instead of that 15%. So a little small nerf here to Dust Devils. You can see in the visuals here too, it's a lot less screen clutter as well. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, right here. You can see this was ridiculous. When I was playing with other Barbarian players, I couldn't even see the ground. Crazy stuff. So a good change there. Good change. Aspect of Fevered Mauling. When you hit at least one enemy with Maul, increase attack speed by 1 to 2%, 2.5 I mean, from 1 to 2%, and you gain 1 to 3 versus 1 to 4. So you got an increase to attack speed, but a slight decrease to damage reduction here. Aphotic Aspect for Necromancer. Skeletal Priests empower your Skeletal Warriors attack to deal shadow damage and have a 5 to 20% from 5 to 15% chance to stun enemies. So a little buff there on that Aphotic Aspect. Scoundrel's Kiss. They went over this on the dev stream, so they made the pattern more predictable. So where you target with your rapid fire, that's where it's going to go instead of just like lobbing in a line. Because I was playing around with this on the PTR, planning to use this for Season 4 on my hardcore rogue. But yeah, good change, good change. Saboteur's Signet. Casting Flurry has a 15 to 30% chance to release stun grenades that deal physical damage and stun enemies for 1 second. Your grenade skills have a 2% down from 5% lucky hit chance, so slight lucky hit nerf there. Sorcerer, my main. So Fractured Winterglass Amulet. We got our lucky hit nerf here. Conjurations have a 50 to 70, down from 70 to 100% chance to launch a Frozen Orb at enemies. So it's going to be less Frozen Orbs from your Conjurations. You'll still have a lot of Conjurations, like this isn't changed, but the Frozen Orbs that they spawn, it's going to be less. Extra explosions from the aspect of Frozen Orbit do not trigger this effect, as unique calls out casting. This unintended interaction was fixed since the PTR. So yeah. Down to Flame Weaver. Flame Weaver now splits Firebolts to 3 instead of 4. Damage is buffed from 30 to 70, from 10 to 30%. So it's not mentioned on this section here, but it is mentioned later on. People were stacking multiple firewalls and getting it to split multiple times with the Firebolts. They have since removed that bug. Okay, then going down here, Razor Plate. Razor Plate has been updated to function within the new Masterworking system. Now has 4 Thorn affixes instead of no affixes. New unique power. Thorns has a 10% chance to deal 100 to 150% increased damage. So change to Razor Plate. Kind of cool. We've got Assimilation here. You have an 8% increased dodge chance when you dodge Fortify for 5 to 10% instead of 5 to 20% of your maximum life. So a little bit of a nerf there. Hectic nerf. So cooldown reduced from 2 to 4 to 1 to 2. I know I was using this on my Frenzy Barb. I think this is still a good aspect though. Monsters will still deal more damage the higher level they are, but the relative damage reduction will remain the same from level 100 onward. This change was made to account for level 200 boss monsters doing extreme amounts of damage to players that are capped for armor. We got some more general changes here. Damage reduction granted by Fortify has been increased from 10 to 15%, so Fortify buff there. Cooldown reductions capped at 75. Physical damage calculation against damage reduction now caps at level 100. Maximum evade charged affix have been increased from 2 to 3, so that's on the boots. And then attacks reduce evades cooldown affix, that's also the implied affix on certain boots. Buffed from 0.8 to 1.5. The evade grants movement speed affix also buffed 50% to 125%. So buffing mobility a bit here. Nice to see that. All resistance from amulets has been increased from 19 to 25. Single element res on rings increased from 8 to 10. So buff to resistance here. Should be a little bit easier to max out your res and cap out your armor now, so you can focus on other stats. Okay, going down to Barbarian. Additionally, the following updates have been applied for Dust Devils. Maximum number of Dust Devils that can be active at once is now 15. Dust Devils now move more quickly and dissipate sooner. So yeah, same with like the visual change we saw earlier. Yeah, it's going to be a lot easier to see on the screen. And coming down here, Wind Lasher's aspect. They took out the triple amount of Dust Devils created if double swing is cast within, or cast twice within 2 seconds. So a little bit of a nerf there as well to Dust Devils. And then right here, aspect of Fierce Winds, Dust Devils created reduced 5 to 3. Alright, we got Fields of Crimson. Damage bonus increased from 20 to 30%. Ancient's Oath, damage or bonus damage duration increased from 3 to 5 seconds. Wariness on the Druid, reduced damage from elites increased from 10% to 15%. Slight Druid buff there on the boon. Wolves, health increased by 200%. Respawn reduced from 10 seconds to 5 seconds. Hurricane damage increased from 134% to 187%. And yeah, just a reminder, these are just changes that have occurred after the PTR. So these are all the notes that we had going into in the PTR. The red are the changes. Lacerate. You deal 4% increased damage for 10 seconds up to 40%. Instead of your shapeshifting skills, deal that same amount. So just flat damage instead of just shapeshifting skills. Nice. And Waxing Gibbous, life on kill replaced with spirit on kill. Initiates decomposed. Bonus movement speed duration increased from 5 to 8 seconds. Shadow Mages, the second upgrade now has an additional Shadow Bolt fired every 3 attacks, down from 4. Bone Mages, now Bone Mages cast Bone Splinters or Bone Spear every 6th attack if it is on your action bar. Instead of Bone Mages having a 25% chance to cast Bone Spinners or Bone Spear, it's going to be after every attack. So instead of a chance, it's going to be every 6th attack. Lidless Wall, lucky hit chance increased from 5 to 25 to 15 to 30. Nice to see a lidless buff there. Bloodless Scream, essence gain increased from 7 to 10 to 15 to 20. Here's some Paragon changes here. Dominate, bonus overpower per 5 willpower, reduced from 39.9 to 14.9 at glyph level 21. So Dominate nerf there. Okay, coming down here. Uncanny Treachery, dealing damage to a dazed enemy with an agility skill, grants stealth for 4 seconds. When stealth breaks, you gain 10 to 15% dodge chance for 2 seconds instead of 85 to 100%. So yeah, nerf to the dodge chance there. Escape Artist, number of attacks dodge reduced from 2 to 7 to 2 to 5. Smoke Grenade dodge effect cooldown has been reduced from 45 to 20 instead of 25. Resistant Assailants, when using concealment, resistance and max resistance have increased duration from 4 to 6 seconds. And down to, we got unique items here. Beastfall Boots, damage bonus reduced from 0.5 to 1.5 for energy consumed to 0.25 to 0.75. Energy restored from using cooldown increased from 5 to 15. Eagle Horn, that's a bow right there. Damage bonus increased from 40 to 60 to 50 to 70. Sky Hunter, another bow. I think I'm going to be using this one for my rapid fire build. Damage bonus increased 10 to 30 from 10 to 30 to 20 to 40. Nice little buff there. Yeah, looking forward to that. I got a change here. Shimmering Ice Armor. I played around with this in the PTR and now I'm a fan. But they did nerf it a little bit. So while Ice Armor is active, reduced its cooldown by 1 second instead of 2 seconds for every 50 mana you spend. So a slight nerf there. I think I'm still going to use it though. Yeah. That was a fun one. Of concentration, casting conjuration skill grants you slight nerf here. 25 on the main, dropping down to 20%, or on the max, for a damage reduction for 5 seconds. And we got the Staff of Lam Essen, or Staff of Liam Neeson. Crit damage. Damage to close has been removed, replaced with ranks of charged bolts. Tal Rasha's. This is the Sorcerer Ring. Maximum stacks now capped at 4. All resistant variants increased from 8 to 3 to 10 to 4. So I'm thinking this is going to limit us to 4 elements only. So like with Endarials, there's your poison if you wanted to use Endarials. Then you got your fire, your cold, your lightning. That'd be 4 right there. You can't use like lucky hit chance to cast shadow damage, which would give you like 5 elements right there if you had all of those. So that's something to consider for sorcerers. Flamescar Ember damage increased by 25%. Buff to Flamescar there. Staff of Endless Rage. Bonus damage increased from 20 to 40 to 40 to 60. Nice to see these underutilized sorcerer weapons getting buffed. Esu's Heirloom. These are the unique boots. Evade grants movement speed affix duration increased from 2 to 3 seconds. Nice change there. And coming down here, Elixir of Resource. Resource cost reduced by 10% instead of 15%. Elixir of Resource rank 2. Resource cost reduced by 20% from 30%. You don't have the HUD anymore when picking up materials. I didn't mind it, honestly. I thought it was kind of nice. Gauntlet. Boss monsters won't drop a shrine if they have been regenerated by Pillar of Proving. So if you guys are into the Gauntlet at all, this is something to consider for your routes and stuff now. You won't have those extra shrines to rely on. Looks like they added Tormented Ruins to the Nightmare Dungeon rotation. We got miscellaneous updates here. Traversal skills such as Leap and Teleport can now easily travel the distance to go to the edge of the screen. This will improve parity with mouse and keyboard players. Note, with ultra-wide monitors, it may not traverse to the edge of your monitor as traversal abilities have set maximum distances they can travel to. So this is to help controller players. Nice change for that. Make it more fair, especially for Gauntlet and stuff. Bonus experience for World Tiers 2, 3, and 4 have been increased. So 2 has been increased from 20 to 50%. World Tier 1's unchanged. 3, 100 to 150. World Tier 4, 200 to 250%. So it's going to be faster to level, for sure. I'm excited to level. And we got some gameplay for Barbarian. Some bug fixes here. Fixed an issue where guaranteed overpower from Earthstriker's aspect cannot be used on Ground Stomp. Fixed an issue where hit from Ancient Summon by aspect of Ancestral Charge would grant stacks of Flawless Technique. Legendary Paragon Node. And fixed an issue where Call of the Ancients was not properly scaling with ultimate skill damage affixes. And for Druid, fixed an issue with Earth Spike would deal increased damage exponentially when hitting multiple stacked targets. Fixed an issue where additional landslides from an Aftershock aspect didn't fully apply the enhanced landslide aspect modifier. So all these are general bug fixes here. Yeah, class specific bug fixes. I'm not going to go over all of these into detail. Yeah, the Vampiric packs, that was a bug for a bit. Fixed an issue with weather effects during Helltide. Yeah, that's pretty much the notes in a nutshell. I'll leave a link in the description below to this, as well as the Wowhead article where I referenced in the beginning of the video. Well, yeah. I hope you guys you enjoyed the video. If you're looking forward to this next season, let me know in the comments. Like the video, subscribe. I know I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be going Sorcerer as my main, even with the slight nerfs there. And I'm going hardcore for Rogue. Softcore Sorc, hardcore Rogue. Let me know what you guys are playing. Well, yeah, take care, everyone. Peace.